Kaya चक्षुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's longings. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us how to open our hearts to deep feelings of separation through a simple but pivotal prayer. Ainandatanuj Ainandatanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishameva Vambudau Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sitaduli Sadrisam Vichintaya. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nescience. Now, please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Sri Sikshastaka, verse 5. Here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses his mood of longing for Krishna, and it is precisely this mood that he taught to others. When you sing kirtan or chant japa in the spirit of separation with some longing for the Lord, something wonderful happens. Externally, Krishna may be far away, and your situation as a soul fallen into the material world remains. But if you imbibe this mode of separation, Krishna will come into your heart without delay. Vipralamba means outside absence, inside presence. Externally, we feel apart from Krishna, but internally, we feel connected. Material relationships and objects don't work in the same way. They don't come into your life simply because you long for them. In fact, longing for someone can make their absence feel more acute. But longing for Krishna actually brings him into the heart. Experiencing his absence paradoxically brings about his presence. You can then feel him with you and be solaced. It needs to be experienced to be understood. The next verse of the Sikshastaka is explicitly about hankering for Krishna. It opens the door to deep absorption and an inner state that is highly desirable for serious chanters of the holy name. नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गदगदहृदया गिरा पुलकनिचितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति. O dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice falter and all the hairs on my body stand erect in transcendental happiness when I chant your holy name? Sri Sikshastaka, verse 6. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks this verse with apparent distress. He laments and feels rest. He wishes to say, I can't go on like this any longer. Without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray to you, Krishna, please accept me as your servant and give me as a salary ecstatic love for you. I don't want anything monetary. I just want a tiny compensation for my efforts to serve you. Please give me just a fraction of that prema dhana, the wealth of ecstatic love. I am on the brink of death. Please give me some alms to maintain my life. The verses of the Sikshastaka prayer, born from the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are highly beneficial for those who desire to chant with Vipralamba. Hearing them imbibes the heart with devotional feelings of longing. The beggar of the mind. We know from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's biographers that every evening he would hear the poetry of Vidyapati, Chandidas and Jaydev Goswami, all of whom describe the love of Vrindavan residents who associated with Krishna every day and exchanged with him most attractive, transcendental, loving dealings. Submerged in the ecstasy of these stories, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the inner orientation for opening the heart to Krishna with strong feelings of separation and longing through his beautiful poetry. In the heart, there are vrittis, thought waves or desires. When the heart is impure, the vrittis run towards material enjoyment. However, when the heart is pure, the vrittis run towards Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu illustrates this in an exquisite analogy where he compares his mind to a beggar who abandons home to beg for the wealth of Premadhana and eventually meets Krishna in Vrindavana. The beggar is expert at meditation, therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls him Yogi of my mind. The yogi is dressed in a quilt of anxiety, uttering only two words, O Krishna. He is emaciated, wears a turban of green on his head and bangles of distress on his wrist. The beggar constantly studies poetry and descriptions of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu elaborates this beggar could not find what he wanted in his own home, the body, where there was only material enjoyment. He longed for a greater treasure, so he took his disciples, the 10 senses, with him to start his begging campaign. He was after the alms of pure love. But he needed to find those who could freely give him the treasure of divine love. So this yogi approached the gopis who always release Krishna's sweetness from the sound of his flute, the aroma of his body, and even the touch of his beautiful form. To his joy, the gopis offered him the much sought alms of pure love, and this mystic yogi of the mind ventured in a garden where Krishna was enjoying his pastimes and finally settled into a mystical trance. From the accounts that describes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, we know that he frequently received the darshan of Krishna in his vision, and his feelings of Vipralamba were an overpowering flood. In Jagannath Puri, he would reside in a small room called Gambhira and would stay up all night chanting Krishna Krishna with deep feelings of separation in the mood of Radharani, yearning for Krishna. Sometimes he would rub his soft cheeks against the wall, back and forth, up and down, until his face drew blood. At other times, he would magically escape through closed doors and high security walls. This made devotees extremely concerned for his safety. They held a meeting to address the issue and decided to appoint Sankara as the Lord's companion in the night to make sure Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not hurt himself anymore. Because the room was so small, Sankara would lie down first and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would lie the other way and put his legs over him. This way, Sankara was alerted whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu moved and would immediately take care of him. Sankara became known by the affectionate nickname Pillow of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But despite the protective measure, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's longing could not be restrained. In fact, it made the flames of intense separation so much stronger that sometimes he would miraculously escape, even though the doors remained shut. We'll stop here. So, what we read from today's reading, my understanding is how Like we all know, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why Lord Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga. And there are various reasons. It's very in detail mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. But one of the main reason is like the Lord wanted to test his mellows in the mood of Radharani, because how much Radharani loves Krishna, Krishna cannot understand that. So he wanted to test his own mellows in the form of like Radharani. So he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where like Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastaka, the 8 verses, is teaching us like we should, um, how we should, like serve Lord Krishna. It should be always in the separation mode. And the word Vipralamba Bhava, it is like it comes so many times whenever there is we read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This word or this terminology comes again and again, which means it is like externally we're separated, but internally you feel a very deep connection with Krishna. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to teach us through his Sikshastaka, that yes, we are separated, even though we are part and parcel of Krishna, because of like we the jivas are known as the marginal potency of Krishna. Why? Because even though we are the part and parcel of Krishna, so we are eternal. So we have a choice whether we want to be we want to like, if we have the choice, we can keep our face towards Krishna or away from Krishna. So if when we keep towards Krishna, it's like we become the internal potency, and away we come under the like we are trapped by Maya. So we'll be the servant of Maya, so become the external. So it's our choice whether we want to be Krishna conscious or Maya conscious. So that's what we learned today. Like we have to chant. Lord is teaching us how we have to chant his names in the mood of separation. When we chant or we serve in the mood of separation, we feel more closer to him. That's the main, like my understanding from today's reading, that we have to always, yes, we are separated because of our rebellious activity, because of our envious activity. We are separated from our Supreme Father. He's our Krishna, is only our dear friend, or somehow we are separated from him. So, in that separation mode, if and in a humble state of mind, if we chant his names, we can feel a deep connection